You leave once and they panic, not because you were wrong, because silence removed the handle they used. Controlling people rarely fear anger first. They fear access disappearing. Your quiet exit feels like a locked door. You know that drained feeling. Nothing dramatic happened. Yet every conversation leaves you defending yourself against something invisible. They ask little questions. Why are you quiet? Why so distant? Why rushing off? None of them are innocent. Here is what changes everything. Walking away without a word tells them your peace is no longer negotiable. Not every controller shouts. Some tighten the room with disappointment, pauses, loaded glances, and that rehearsed wounded expression. They want your explanation more than your presence. Explanations give them material. Material lets them reopen the argument tomorrow. So use the first silent move early. Say, I'm heading out now, then leave before guilt gets dressed as concern. That simple exit unsettles them because it offers nothing hook. No defense, no debate, no emotional receipt. And here's the deeper part. Silence is not emptiness here. It is information they cannot control. Think about the person who keeps you late after gatherings. Everyone else leaves smiling. You leave carrying invisible bruises. They stop you near the door. Their voice sounds soft, but every sentence quietly demands your emotional availability. Are you acting weird lately? Are you upset with me? Why do you always pull away? None of those questions seek understanding. They are fishing lines. If you answer one, 5 more suddenly appear. Controlling people study your conscience. They notice you hate seeming rude, so they bait you with politeness. That is why a quiet departure hits harder than a speech. Speeches sound brave. Leaving looks final. They can argue with your reasons. They cannot argue with your absence. Absence forces them to face themselves. But that is not even the real move. The real move is refusing to rescue the silence. When they stare, wait, sigh, or smirk, your nervous system wants relief. Relief usually sounds like over-explaining. Do not buy relief that way. Let the gap stay awkward. Awkward for a minute protects months of peace. Here is what they feel instead. They feel your center shifting beyond reach. That loss unsettles controlling people deeply. They were never attached only to you. They were attached to your predictability. Your explanations used to keep access open. The moment you stop giving those explanations, they misread your peace. They call it cold, arrogant, dramatic, disrespectful. Notice the translation underneath that complaint. You are no longer easy to steer. Their confusion is really lost leverage. Healthy people may ask once, then respect distance. Toxic people treat boundaries like theft. Access was the prize. That difference matters because it clears your guilt. You are not harming healthy connection. You are exposing unhealthy dependence. Sometimes the controlling person is not loud at all. They are helpful, generous, attentive, and constantly keeping score. They remember every favor. They mention old sacrifices at perfect moments. Gratitude becomes the bill attached to your freedom. So when you quietly leave, you interrupt the entire payment system. You stop paying with explanations, laughter, and appeasement. That interruption feels disrespectful to someone addicted to influence, not because you harmed them, because you stopped cooperating. Here is another silent weapon. I already answered that. Then say nothing else, even when they act confused. Confusion can be theater. They heard you. They just want you performing the answer again with more emotional surrender. Another one works in public. Not discussing this here. Calm words, low volume, then your body keeps moving. Notice that last part carefully. Your body keeps moving. The walk matters as much as the words. Controlling people expect one last pause. They expect you to turn back, soften, explain, and hand power back. Do not turn back for closure. They are not seeking closure. They are seeking re-entry into your nervous system. That is why the hallway moment matters. The doorway, parking lot, elevator, unread message. Small exits become major revolutions. People think power looks loud. Real power often looks like no longer volunteering your softness to somebody misusing it. And still, there is nuance here. Detachment is not bitterness. It is clarity without the performance of anger. You do not have to hate them. You only have to stop escorting them into your private mental rooms. The control was never only in the argument. It was in your anticipation. You kept pre-explaining before conflict even arrived. You rehearsed texts in your head. You prepared kind tones, careful wording, and soft disclaimers before saying simple things. That exhausting preparation trained them well. They learned your peace would negotiate against itself. Silence breaks that training. Sometimes they react instantly, a sudden cold tone, a sarcastic joke, then a sweet message sent minutes after you leave. None of those reactions mean you were cruel. They mean your boundary was felt, and felt boundaries expose hidden entitlement. Here's the part nobody tells you. Silence makes insecure people talk more. Your stillness forces their strategy into daylight. They begin over-explaining themselves, sending paragraphs, rewriting history, suddenly acting helpful. That scramble is information. Watch it quietly. If they only soften when you withdraw, remember that. Warmth given only after distance is not safety. It is retrieval. This is why your exit unsettles them more than any speech. A speech still centers them. Silence recenters you. Maybe you've seen this already. The moment you become harder to reach, they suddenly become easier to understand. They reveal whether they loved you, needed you, or managed you. Distance does not create character. It reveals character. Around here, many people notice the same pattern. Whose silent exit changed everything for you? Say it in the comments. Keep it brief if you want. Your story might name something another person has been doubting for years. If no names feel safer, describe the behavior instead. Someone else will recognize it. That recognition can free them. Now back to the quietest part. The most powerful walkaway happens before you feel ready. Ready usually means over-prepared. Waiting to feel perfectly calm keeps many people trapped. Use a prepared sentence instead. Calm often catches up later. Try this when they corner you gently. I need to go. Short, respectful, unhookable, and almost impossible to twist. Or this one when they revisit old ground. My answer stands. Then, let their disappointment belong entirely to them. If they say, wow, you have changed, do not rush to deny it. Change may be the healthiest thing here. Often that sentence means something simple. You stopped responding on command. They miss convenience, not necessarily connection. Some viewers make one mistake right here. They walk away physically, then send a long text later explaining everything. That text reopens the door you just closed. It gives them tone to dissect, motives to question, and angles. If you must reply later, keep it dry. Say, already handled or not available for that. Then stop writing. Dry communication is not cruelty. It is oxygen control for your peace. Fire spreads where there's emotional fuel. Controlling people often survive on reaction. Not always drama, just reaction. Your explanations, your guilt, your visible confusion fed them. Remove the reaction, and the dynamic shakes. Suddenly they have to face themselves without your nervous system cushioning them. That is unsettling for anyone who mistakes access for intimacy. They called it closeness because you were always available. Real closeness does not collapse when you need space. Real care does not demand proof every time you step back. If somebody becomes hostile the moment you go quiet, believe the reaction. Your silence did not create the problem. It uncovered a problem that needed your compliance to stay hidden. That is why your peace feels threatening to them. The unsettling part is not mystery. It is self-respect without permission. Controllers hate what they cannot supervise. And still, keep your ego out of it. Walking away is not a performance. It is a return. You are not leaving to punish them. You are leaving because staying keeps teaching your body that discomfort is normal. The body learns faster than the mind admits. After enough small betrayals, your shoulders answer before your mouth does. That heaviness before seeing them is data. That relief after leaving is data too. Believe both more often. Here's a scenario people miss. The controlling person may sound concerned after your distance. Concern can still be control. They say, I just worry about you. But what they really miss is access to your inner weather. They want updates, explanations, emotional temperature reports, not because care is fake every time, because control often borrows caring language. Emotional immaturity is not always mastermind manipulation. Sometimes it is panic in adult clothing. But panic can still be invasive. You do not owe access to someone just because their motives are messy instead of evil. Impact still counts. This is where many viewers finally exhale. You can understand someone without surrendering to them. Compassion does not require re-entry. And that quiet understanding protects you better than outrage. Outrage keeps you engaged. Clarity lets you leave cleaner. Another silent weapon fits when they press twice. Not available. No apology attached. No extra cushion to soften it. Apologies have their place. But overused apologies invite negotiation where none is needed. Sorry becomes an opening, not courtesy. Watch how quickly they test the edges after that. One more question, one more joke, then one more wounded pause. That testing is not proof you should explain better. It is proof the boundary was real enough to challenge. But the strongest part comes later. The strongest part is what you do after the interaction ends. You do nothing. No recap text. No checking whether they understood. No sending peace offerings because silence made you feel guilty. Let them sit with the version of you that no longer chases repair immediately. That version unsettles controllers most, because instant repair trained them to expect quick access. Delay teaches reality. You have a life beyond the reactions. Some people call this distance cruel because they benefit from your openness. The ones angriest often lost the most access. Remember that when guilt starts performing for you, guilt is not always truth. Sometimes it is old conditioning, protesting change. The old version of you explained to stay lovable. The new version of you leaves to stay sane. That is not selfishness. That is adulthood. Adults stop offering full access to people who misuse partial access. And when they say, "After all I have done for you," hear the translation. They are invoicing your freedom. Love does not invoice freedom. Care does not demand your constant explainability. Only control needs that level of access. Some controllers recruit witnesses without asking directly. They retell your silence as cruelty. Let borrowed opinions pass through. Anyone who needs your self-betrayal to call you good was never reading your heart honestly. Sometimes you will shake afterward. That does not mean the boundary was wrong. It means your body remembers. Old dynamics train fear around freedom, so calm may arrive late. Late calm is still real calm. Practice makes the walk cleaner. First awkward, then steadier, then natural. Repetition teaches your nerves a new normal. The goal is not winning their confusion. The goal is stopping your self-abandonment the moment it starts. Some people respect you only after distance. Do not feel flattered. It means closeness had been cheapened. That delayed respect reveals something painful. They heard you all along, but just responded when access got scarce. One-sided relationships hate closed doors. Mutual relationships can survive one unanswered message without turning it into a character trial. The quiet person becomes hardest to control when they stop narrating every exit. Mystery is not the weapon. Self-possession is. So the next time the familiar pressure rises, choose the smaller move. Stand up and pick up your keys. Leave. Do it before your mind writes a courtroom speech. Your body usually knows first. Trust the first clean signal. Maybe your signal is tight breathing. Maybe it is mental fog, sudden fatigue, or the urge to appease. Whatever it is, stop arguing with it. Peace rarely arrives through debate. It often arrives through departure. Try one silent move this week. Leave one beta conversation earlier than usual. Watch who becomes unsettled and why. If this hits something real, say which line stayed with you. Your comment might steady somebody standing at their doorway. And if you want more language for quiet boundaries, stay close. More is coming, and none of it needs shouting. Subscribe and ring the bell if peace is your new standard. Let these words meet you before old patterns do. You do not need the perfect final sentence. Sometimes the strongest message is the sound of your footsteps leaving.